is my number for the episode today. 3x is the amount, the increase rather, in your contact rate if you use a multi-channel strategy versus a single channel strategy. So we've probably all heard this with outbound, right? It's not about the phone, it's not about the email, it's not about social. You should use all three. But again and again in our practice, we work with clients like Shopify, your Gongs, your Ripplings, your Zooms, et cetera, and then all of the startups in between that. And we see this over and over again where their reps don't actually use a multi-channel outreach strategy. They really rely mostly on email and passive forms of communication. So before we get into that today, thanks for checking out Outbound Squad. My name's Jason. At Outbound Squad, we're all about helping you turn complete strangers into paying customers. So if you have reps that you're asking to do more outbound, to reach out to your customers more, to maybe cross-sell or upsell, you're trying to move up market into more enterprise accounts. If you're a rep or a leader tasked with that, you're definitely in the right place. So today, what we're going to talk about is really the importance of omni-channel outbound strategy, but I think more importantly, what the modern take on that looks like, because the whole sequencing and cadencing strategy has changed in the last several years. And we're going to talk to you about what to do. What do you do when your reps say, my prospects don't pick up the phone, so I don't feel like I need to call them? We're going to talk about all of that stuff. And I'll also be joined by Clara Johnson, who is our head of training. She's working and the team is working directly with most of our clients at this point. So we're going to get her hot take on this. So without further ado, let's get to the episode. Okay. So again, we hear this a lot from reps. Why should I do XYZ, which typically is the phone? Why should I call people if they don't pick up the phone? So what's your kind of hot take on omni-channel outbound, and what's your experience been with some of our clients?
So, as part of our process, right, Outbound Squad does co-creation in terms of how we go about our training. And part of co-creation is where I come into a sales team and I interview them. I do like a day in the life. Walk me through, if I was a new rep, where you start your Monday, how you end your Friday, what technology do you use? And one of the questions I ask every single rep is, what channels are really working for you? And I always get this response of, the phones don't work, so I don't use them.
Yeah.
Or the phones are working, but emails, like, that's not a great place to meet our prospects. Our prospects are super unique, Clara, so they don't really answer the emails. There's always this response of, this single channel works and this one doesn't, so I don't touch this other one because that is my belief system of where I can win the most. And I was working with this enterprise sales team. They sell like a revenue intelligence software in a very saturated space. It's a super crowded market in the enterprise. Like, think of companies like Salesforce, ServiceNow, Adobe. And these reps are managing huge deals, like 7-figure territories and deals, and they're very complex. They have multiple stakeholders. And the problem is they would say, hey, outbound really isn't the approach that we need to follow. We build pipeline through relationships because we're in the enterprise space. This is years of building relationships with certain people. And the only way I can break in if I don't have a relationship is to use my executives to break into their executive team. Again,
That sounds really nice,
relationship.
huh? Yeah.
Yeah,
I just need to put my executive to task and have them do all the work.
exactly. Their belief was cold outreach does not work. The only thing that works with my buyers specifically is warm intros.
Yeah.
And
And their
in
buyers are sales leaders.
exactly, and marketing
Yeah.
leaders, which it's like, okay, yes,
Yeah.
there's some truth to relationship in this type of sale, but if you never try it, you don't know if it works. And if you've been doing this historically for the last X amount of years, maybe it's time to pivot into try a different strategy. So when it came to building pipeline, they were failing to reach all of the prospects that they could because they were so focused on the only prospects that they had relationships with, or the prospects that had team connects with, executives or ATL stakeholders within their company.
Yeah. So were they not even contacting the people they couldn't get a warm intro to?
No, some of
That's
them weren't.
crazy.
Yeah, and it is this cultural shift, right? Of like, hey, we're asking you to prospect because the business is needing more revenue and we don't have enough pipeline. And they're like, okay, well, I've never done that. I've only built relationship pipeline. So it's a shift in mindset and a shift in behavior. So with enterprise reps like that have been doing this for so long and their process works once they get a meeting, you have to make it super easy. And even outside of the enterprise space, for any reps prospecting, making it easy is the highest form that we could have in adoption of frameworks or methodologies or strategies.
Yep.
So we put everything into one AI prompt. And it was to help them do a bunch of research against that account. It had all the trigger points in terms of why they would reach out. It would look at common connections that they had with their executive team. So there were still similar pathways for them to follow if they wanted to go that relationship route. And what it generated for them was not only the research against the account so they could skim through at high level and be like, oh, they have grown their sales team by X amount and they don't have any enablement on their team. Like maybe they need our software to help scale reps and help them with forecasting and all of that. So it would give them research. It would then produce a first touch outbound email for them that followed a very simple framework. It would produce a bump email, a LinkedIn message, a LinkedIn voice note script, a cold call talk track, and a voicemail script. It literally gave them everything they needed to create an omni-channel approach and to follow that omni-channel approach within minutes, like making it so easy on them to get the output that they wanted in a matter of minutes. The result, first, they had immediate insight into the impact they could have at these companies. And that gave them so much more confidence to go after prospects that maybe they didn't have relationships with, right? Because it's a deep level of research that was taking them hours before, sifting through 10Ks, 10Qs, transcript, earning reports, all the things. And it allowed them to start prospecting into channels that they historically had not prospected in. And the result, we showed up to one of our workshops, and one of the enterprise reps, he was a little resistant to do some emailing. He's like, I cold call it, or I call everyone. They have my cell phone number. He sent an email after one of our sessions with the AI prompt. It created everything for him. He got a response back from a prospect who was at a target account. And the response was, let me just text you. Sent him a text, said, this is the channel I like to communicate in. Strong offer in the email. What more can you tell me? So significantly increased not only the 3x to your point part of breaking into accounts, but it also allowed these sales reps to understand that if we create an omni-channel approach, we meet our buyers where they want to be met. I love a voice note on LinkedIn. I actually love voice notes.
I hate voice notes.
I love voice notes in general. I voice note with my friends, my mom, all like everyone, and I love a voice note.
I love that too, but the voice note on LinkedIn, I'm like, because it's not transcribed.
Yeah.
I'm just like, but that's a really great example. Like you love getting voice notes. I hate getting voice notes.
Exactly. And it's also an opportunity to be like, I don't have time to listen to this. Send me an email if that's your preferred place. Or you show them, the whole point is you show them you've done your research. You show them that you are trying to add value or to solve a challenge that you think that they are running into. And then you allow them to communicate with you in the channel that they feel most comfortable in, or it's easiest for them to communicate.
So can we give a couple other little insights? Voicemail. Why should we leave voicemail? What's the impact of that?
Well, for one, voicemail, it has the highest percentage of open rates. Voicemails are opening at like a 90% clip right now because they are transcribed. Everyone hates that little red icon on their phone widget. And you can go in and you can read the entire transcript. My mom leaves me voicemails every single time she calls me. If I don't answer, she leaves me a voicemail. Yeah. Do I ever listen to them? No. Do I keep them? Yes, because I read the transcript and then I send her a voice note back. So they have the highest opportunity for us to show our buyers that we are trying to add value because they'll probably read the transcript. Also, if you leave voicemails, you increase not only your future pickup rates, but you also increase your future reply rates to emails. The structure of a voicemail should be you pointing them back or towards the email you're about to send with the subject line that you have ready to go or that you've already sent. If you do that, it's a super low lift. If you said something, oh, that sounds interesting. That sounds valuable. Wow, they really know my business. Let me go read that email. And then as this person continues to reach out, I may respond in the future because they are someone worth talking to. They have something worth talking about.
100%. And Gong's data shows up to a 3x increase in email reply rates by leaving voicemails. One more other thing too that might be good is while we're talking about sequencing, what's like kind of the high level guidance that we give our clients around number of touches, how many channels to use over what period of time? What's kind of the high level guidance there?
Well, what we teach our clients is, 15, 16 touch points over 3 weeks. You want to make a lot of noise and then you want to back off for a day or two. Then you want to make a lot of noise, then back off for a day. So it could be 6 emails, 6 calls, 3 social touches this over the span of 3 weeks. The biggest thing is you want to make sure that the buyer knows that all of those touch points are connected and that the value that you have understood from doing the research is strung the value from all of the research that you have done is placed within each one of your outreaches. So if you are referencing something in your outbound email, you're talking about it in your voicemail.
100%.
I also have a hot take, Jason. I believe
Okay.
that we should have 2 different types of approaches when it comes to sequences. I think for above the line decision makers, that type of cadence and outreach of over 3 weeks, 15 touches is great. For our below the line decision makers or even on the line decision makers, people who influence our deal or who can get us in, give us intel, and then help us get to power, I think we can spread out our outreach a little bit more. I think it can be even 4.5 weeks. And I think we can have a little bit more touch points in between than the 6 emails. We could do 8 emails, 8 calls, and maybe 4 social touches.
Yeah. And what's the purpose for that?
You don't want to treat your prospects the same because
Yeah.
they don't have the same type of influence in a deal. So, our BTLs and our on the line people usually are super busy, and if you're reaching out more consistently, they're more likely to respond because it gets lost. And then they're like, okay, this is valuable. Our above the line stakeholders, we want to be super specific around why we are reaching out, very targeted, very concise and to the point. And if we do that in a way that has a lot of strategy behind it, it's usually less touch points and less time.